You're on mute.
Welcome everybody to our call tonight. We're grateful that you're here with us, joining us from different parts of the country. We're so grateful to have Jan Paxman join us, and I'm going to turn it over to Jan now to tell her story and share with us some great words of wisdom.
Oh, wow, Randy, thank you so much for inviting me to be on tonight. And I just have to thank you specifically because nothing that I've ever experienced would have ever happened had it not been for you. Randy and I were great friends back in college. We were in a performing group. If you don't know already, Randy's an amazing musician, pianist, composer, arranger. And we were part of this group that got to travel internationally together, and we had the best time. And who would have thought that years down the road, after Randy had kind of let his health get out of hand, just a little, we would circle back around, and he sent me an email, which we don't really use a whole lot of today, but that was back in the day. He sent me an email and just shared that he had found something to really help turn his health around. And I responded because I was in a place where I needed some help. I had some baby weight to to take off. I had put on 50 pounds. We were blessed with a little baby, a little bit late in life. I was 45 when we found out we were expecting, and I was like, whoa. Kind of a surprise package, but with him came so many blessings, and Optavia was just one. So I did lose quite a bit of the weight, just naturally after the baby was born, but those last 12 pounds, I could not move them, and I did not feel good. I did not have good energy. There was some things lacking in my health. I had chronic headaches and things were going on. I decided when Randy sent me that email, I needed to learn more about this. So long story short, I decided to do the program. I was sending some people to him after I experienced an amazing result. He said, why don't you choose to coach them? They know and trust you better than they know me. And I thought, why not? And what Randy did for me was he was just further, 6 months in, and I could see the success that he'd had. And I just knew that if I just kept following his lead, that this would take me somewhere. And I didn't really anticipate it going anywhere near where it's gone to this point. I just was really needing a way to get healthy, first of all. And then I really loved serving people. I'm an RN, and I really loved the idea of helping people thrive. That's why I got into nursing in the first place. And this really connected with me. Like I could see a way to really get away from symptom management, which is kind of where medicine has gone these days, and get to the heart of it. Help a person get to their healthy place where their bodies can do what they're designed to do. So anyway, I just appreciate him a lot, and Jeanette as well. They are just great friends and such wonderful people, and all of you are blessed to be part of their organization or friends of them. So thanks, Randy and Jeanette, for having me on tonight. So Randy asked me to tell my story a little bit and then just share some things that have been helpful to me to help me get to the place where we are. And I need to clarify that we aren't quite presidential full-fledged yet. We have one more month to qualify in August. But my team is amazing, and I really have a lot of faith, and I feel like that we will reach that goal. And I love them and love serving with them so much, and just so many great things are happening. So I'm just really honored to have that opportunity to have a team that is serving at a presidential level. And that's what it takes. It's a team effort, and we all have to grow to that place. It just doesn't happen. But like I mentioned, I really didn't anticipate that this would ever go anywhere beyond just getting healthy and maybe earning an extra $1,000. I just was trying to help my family finances a little bit. I really didn't want to have to go back to work in the hospital. It was during the time of 2010 when the economy was weak. My husband is an insurance agent and was doing really well, but during that time, his specialty was insuring small businesses, and a lot of them were going under. And so every month our commissions were going down and down and down and down. And we were looking at it going like, what are we going to do? And like so many families, there's just not a lot of options out there. I was blessed to have a profession that I could have gone back to, but really, I didn't want to have to go back to work at night at the hospital, which is what I would have had to do. Had I gone back to what would pay me the very most, it would have been night shift, and I would have had to start someplace at the bottom. So thankfully, we had an option. And so I went with it, and I was so amazed to find that we were able to earn $1,000. Like, that was my end goal. I thought if I could do that in 6 months, maybe I could, take the pressure off of my husband. That would be awesome. And I asked Randy, how much are you earning? He'd been in about 6 months, and he said he had been able to pay for Christmas with cash and not have to use a credit card. And I was so intrigued. I was like, what are you doing? And, he was just ahead of me. He's like $2,500 a month. And I was like, okay. And that peak to peak principle that Dan Bell talks about, if any of you have heard Dan Bell speak, he talks about peak to peak. You see that peak, you go to that peak, and then you can see beyond that peak. So that's what I've done. I've just peak to peak. What's the next goal? When I realized that I could only help so many clients, and I really didn't have any desire to bring on and train coaches. I really didn't know how to train a coach. Back then, we just didn't have the systems that we have now. And it was sort of like, figure it out. There's some good ideas here and some good ideas there. And hey, that team over there is doing this and that. And we just really didn't have a system. But now we have such an amazing system that any of you who are newer to the program can be so thankful, because it just wasn't that way then. Why don't you tell us in the comments how many years you've been a coach, if you could do that. That would be kind of fun to see how many people have been in for a while or not. Yep, Randy was just ahead of me a little ways. Some newer ones, 1 year, 2.5, 5 months. Yep, Chad. Yeah. Okay. So wide variety here, but just all of us can be grateful that we have such an amazing system. So when I finally turned the corner, understanding that I did want to move beyond just client support and get into coach support, I had a fundamental shift in my mind when I went to National Convention, and I realized that I was shortchanging the people that I was helping with their health. They weren't plugging into the full opportunity to transform their health all the way around. And that includes paying it forward, because we know that if we're helping people go forward, it's really hard for us to go backward. And being part of this community is such a huge piece to our total transformation. So I realized that after attending that first convention, and I decided to come home and add that in. And that has been such a blessing. Sponsoring coaches and helping them grow is really so awesome. Seeing them be able to thrive at a level that they haven't been able to. Maybe it's that they can cover the cost of their mortgage, or they can allow their children to take lessons that they want to, or maybe it's go on a vacation to Disneyland, their family, and not have to pay for it with credit cards. I mean, that is so exciting. We've seen people on our team be able to do those kinds of things, and it's just such a blessing in my life to be a part of that. I think the main thing that has helped me is to focus on the ones that I'm serving, and that has been a blessing and a curse, because sometimes as I focus on the ones that I'm serving, I want it so much for them that I immerse myself in it and almost do too much for them. I haven't let them grow and learn for themselves. And so for me, a suggestion would be to really empower your coaches on your team to learn for themselves and not debilitate them by doing too much for them. Trust them as they're growing in their leadership and help them plug into the system so they can learn. And we just had these last weeks before National Convention, the wonderful 12-week growing global training. And you guys, I don't know how many of you were able to attend them or at least see them all 12. Just give me a hand raise if you've been able to get in on those trainings. Yeah, most of you. Looks like some of you don't have your face up, so I can't see you. But honestly, that is so golden. I just felt like inspired during those trainings that this is where we need to go with our coaches, is to train to the 12. Train to the 12. You know, if you've got a coach that's struggling and they're not having success, getting their, sorry, my son's just calling in. I'll call him right back. Hold on. Okay. So when they have, if they're not growing and they're not developing and having the success that they want, there's somewhere along the line there's a struggle, whether it's in a system where it's a transactional type thing, or whether it's in the transformational part thing, you know, and sometimes it's in their own transformational part where their mind is getting in the way, and they have to learn how to get out of their own way. And there's some amazing help there for them. I would just really encourage all of us to go back and train to the 12. Get so acquainted with those trainings, take notes on them, know what's in them, help your coaches understand them. That's something that we're really focusing on right now, so that our team is all unified and we all have the same system in place. And then if you know, we have new coaches coming on and we start them out the same way everybody else does, with those training calls and really helping them just get their feet wet, help them with the first few clients, and then help them as they roll out on Facebook, reach senior coach. And then as they're going along, we introduce them to the trainings to help them be consistent with action steps. And that would be the 3x3 training. But these training videos are what they need to go to during that time as they're going along, to make sure their systems are in place all along the way. So that's one piece I would share. That's duplication. That is allowing your team to be duplicatable or duplicable, however you choose to say it. But as we do that, then you know that your teams are going to be strong. They'll have success. And, you know, and we can't guarantee that 100% of the time. You know, not everyone's going to plug in like that. But if they do choose to, they will be successful. And then another thing that I'd really love to share with you about what I found has helped me so much in my success has been to start my day correctly and end my day correctly. And in between, instead of try to time manage, I am priority managing. And this is a process, guys. I'm not even going to lie and tell you that I got this down, because I am totally working on this 100% of the time. But what that means is get up in the morning and really begin your day correctly by having some quiet time, whether that's a personal meditation time, prayer, scriptures, whatever it is that starts your day off right. And then do something that is like positive training. So that could be, you know, any kind of personal development training, at least 20 minutes of that. And then get some exercise in, some kind of exercise that invigorates your brain and helps you just come alive. And then get your shower, get ready for the day, make your bed, get a good, you know, you're going to be fueling, obviously, along with this. If you take that time, I remember when I used to think, I can't do that. I don't have any time for that. I've got to work too much. I have to do all these things. But what I was doing was I was putting out fires everywhere. I was trying to fix it for everybody and make sure everybody knew where, oh, you want to know where this is? Here, let me grab the link and give it to you. Instead of, here's where it is. Next time they'll know. That's, I think, the nurturer in me or the pleaser in me or whatever it was that drove me. It drove me to fix it for everybody. And it's taken me 8 years to learn myself a different way. Well, I didn't learn it. I mean, I was taught by many great people how to do it differently. And I was a little slow to learn it. But I'm hoping you guys can learn it more quickly than I did. And that is, take the time to start your day, give yourself a foundation. And then when you go in you've got 3 major priorities in the day. What 3 things do you want to accomplish that day? 3 major things. Just 3. Whatever that is, put it down on paper. And then you've got like sessions of productivity, like 90-minute sessions, no more than that. And sometimes even 45 minutes. You might want to even take a break in the middle of that, get up, walk around, get a drink or whatever, and block those 2 sessions of 90 minutes out. And if you've got, I should back up just a second. Family things, things that are important, put those in your schedule first. Like you've heard Dr. A talk about the jar and the rocks in the jar. Those are those main things you've got to do, like that they aren't negotiable. You've got to do those. If you can't fit your morning routine in with your schedule like it is, move your day up a little bit. Get up just a little bit earlier. Take some time to get that morning thing in. And if you feel like, oh my gosh, what you're describing would take me 2.5 hours, I don't have that kind of time, shrink it. Get it in. Just do a half an hour, 10 minutes of spiritual time, 10 minutes of personal development, 10 minutes of some kind of exercise thing, grab your shower and out the door you go. Whatever you got to do to fit it in, just do it. Then you've got your priorities in place. You do your productivity time in those blocks where you're just laser focused and very intentional about what you're doing. And you make sure you schedule your time around that. And then you fill in other times where you're available for calls to help your coaches, and you block out your client support. Those are like the boulders you've got to put in your schedule. But you've got to have a life, right? This training, this has been life-changing, because when I do this consistently, my family is happy. They don't feel like I'm running ragged on the phone all day 24/7 and they can't get a word in edgewise. That's not how we coach. If you're coaching and you're feeling overwhelmed or you're not feeling fulfilled, maybe you're just not doing things in the right order. So let's see if we can fix that. So you start your day one way. You block out the times that you got to have for family. And by the way, try to get really lean. Try to get, don't say yes to things at this point. If you're really trying to grow, you want to get lean. And you've heard this from other leaders. This is where I got it. If you just don't say yes to a lot of extra stuff, that gives you more time to fit this stuff in and be productive. So then in the evening, you would do a bookend. So shut down all your phone, your computer, everything. Make sure if you're having time available at night where you're doing calls with clients or calls with coaches, you got to bring that in and block it out so that you've got an hour at least to hang with your family, to put away the devices and just be. And then part of that time, after you kind of get the kids off to bed or whatever, I'm just saying what I try to do, planning ahead for the next day is golden. If you just think at night, okay, what do I have tomorrow? Look at your calendar and go, okay, I get to talk to them. This is looking good. You've got your calendar mapped out. The times are available for when you can have calls scheduled, so you can see who's taking advantage of those calls. And you are able to have an idea of what your day flow is going to be for the next day. Then you can get really focused during your productivity time. What am I going to do in those 2 90-minute sessions? What is going to be my focus? Do I have people that I've scheduled calls with? Do I have people I'm going to connect with? Do I have a lunch date with someone who's a potential client, or a coach explorer with someone? What am I doing during those times that are, it's zero, you're just focusing in laser focus, zero distractions. Your day is like delightful because you've got all these things, you've got it planned out. I'm telling you, best case scenario, guys. And I know that in the real world stuff happens, but if you can plan it out the night before and have a feeling for what's going on and anything that's on your mind, kind of write it down, make sure you address it the night before so that when you wake up, you get to have that beautiful time in the morning for yourself. Then you get to go into your productivity time, go through the different things that you've mapped out on your calendar, productivity time, and then in the evening you shut it down. That has been huge for me. I lived too many years just kind of running ragged. It's not healthy, and it's not the way to grow and have a sustainable business, because people can't do it without you. And you don't want that. You don't want people looking to you for everything. You want them empowered so that they can do it on their own. And that sets them free. That helps them see that they can create whatever they want. And you want your job to look really like doable. When people see you running around crazy, they don't think they can do it. They don't want to do it. So it stops your team from growing. So this is a learning curve that I really had to learn. I'm still learning. But this has helped me so much. Let's see. Do you guys have any questions about that part so far?
You'll have to unmute if you have a question, guys.
No questions? Okay, let me make sure I'm covering everything, Randy. A schedule for the day. I kind of talked about, client support, coach support, income producing activities. Okay, so client support, just really quick, I'll just say I block it out. And sometimes you have to change it up. If it's not working, if your schedule's not working with it, you gotta fix it. And guess what? Clients are super willing to work with you. If you say to them, to better serve you, I've got to change my hours for client support. I've got this time, or this time. What block would work for you? They'll pick one and you'll be fine. You just switch it up. But make sure you're trying to call them. And if they don't answer, don't just say, hey, I'm just checking on you this week. How are you doing? Let me know, and hang up. You want to say to them something like, hey, I'm just really excited to touch base with you. I want to hear how last week has gone. I'd love to hear what you've been learning through listening to the podcast and the webinars, because I'm really, really posturing that with my people. I want them to be integrated into the system. They need that education. They need that community, or this is just, it ends up being a diet. So I always ask them, what did you learn? And I also really encourage them to be involved in our client support group, Facebook group. And I leave this message if they don't pick up. I say to them, hey, you know what? I'd love to hear back from you. I'm going to be doing client support between 2 and 4 o'clock. If you get this message, please message me back. We'll fit you in. Let them know that your calls will be short, 5 to 10 minutes max. And that's because you really respect their time, right? You don't want to make it sound like I don't have time to talk to you, but it's about them. You really respect their time. So let's just do 5 to 10 minutes max. And then if they don't get back to you in that time frame, you've done your part. I always talk about what the habit of health is for the week. I leave that message. Hey, we're talking about, getting back to school this week and how that can really help you in your fall routines. And hopefully you got on the webinar last night. If you didn't, be sure to check YouTube and search Habits of Health. It will be there by Friday afternoon. I'm here for you. I'll be doing client support until 4 o'clock today, or between 5 and 8 p.m. tomorrow night, Mountain Time. So please text me and let me know if there's anything I can do for you. I'm here for you. So they hear my voice, they get that message. I'm encouraging them to engage. And I always just try to do that. Again, it's not a perfect world. So there's sometimes I fall short. Some people just like to text. They don't want to call. You kind of have to go with that flow, but do your best to really show up and have value when you do those calls with them. Coach support. One thing that I've been doing lately, guys, that has helped me so much, and I know our time is short, when I'm starting a new coach, I have been blocking out a half an hour time slot in the day, every day, Monday through Friday, for that coach. And that has worked so well, because that's the time slot they know when they've got a training call, they've got that time. Hey, I've got a call for us today at 4 o'clock. Hey, I've got a call tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Hey, could we talk about, training and then let me ask you some questions the next day at 4 o'clock? They just know they've got that time slot, and we can talk in other times too. But that has worked so well to help a new coach get off the blocks and get them to senior coach, because they just know I'm there. I'm not, we're not hitting and missing with times for this or that. It's just really nice. So that has been something that's really worked well. Another thing that's helped me a lot is to be sure and set up a calendar with youcanbook.me, or there's several other ones where you can have a calendar that talks to your phone where people can book you for times where they need your help. And so I have time set aside for coaches if they need help. I'm also trying to help them. I'm really trying to empower my coaches. If like a coach who is rather new is starting a new coach, I'm trying to we kind of combine that so that I'm modeling how to start a new coach to that newer coach. And then, I don't want to get it so deep that we've got 5 coaches in there trying to all train together. That gets a little crazy, and we've done that, and we know that gets a little crazy. But sometimes when you're putting out a fire and you don't have a strong team all the way down, you have to. But if you can, as you're doing this right, and you're training to the 12, and you're helping those coaches learn how to coach coaches, after they get to a certain point, you know that they can start a new coach, and you're just there for that meet and greet, and onward they go. So it's just really helpful to block out time for your coaches, and also for the new coaches that are starting out. If they have a half an hour every day, that's helped so very much. Income producing activities. I just do what everybody else does. I start conversations. I post to my Facebook wall. I'm trying really hard to be consistent. I'm putting out there lots of emojis in the posts I do, because that gives people, that makes their eye, it catches their eye. I'm just trying really hard to start conversations and be genuine, and really just, see if I can help them. If they have things going on in their life that I can comment on their wall or whatever, that will draw them to my wall, and they'll see what I'm posting. People who are on my heart, I really watch and try to be active on their walls so that they will see what's on my wall. And hopefully that draws them in, and they will ask me what I'm doing. Other times I'll just reach out to somebody who maybe I've met at the grocery store and we've chatted, and I say, hey, are you on Facebook? And they say, yeah. And then we just kind of watch each other for a minute. And then I reach out to them and I say, hey, you know what? I'm wondering if I could ask a favor. I'm a health coach. I don't know if you've noticed anything that I've been posting, but I love to share with people out there that I maybe don't even know well what I do, so you're aware. It may be not something you're interested in, but it may be something that is for people in your world. I would love to just have the opportunity to tell you what I do. And they're usually pretty genuine and okay with that. Sometimes I tell them that I'm a health coach, and I am gathering information to learn more about health trends in the United States, and would they be willing to let me interview them? And that works really well too. And what I do with that is I take the health assessment and I go to the right side of it, and I'll start asking them, how many hours do they sleep at night? Do they generally eat breakfast? Do they, how many times during the day do they eat? Do they drink water? Where's their stress level? I always throw in there, where is their energy level too? And then I ask them to rate their health on a scale of 1 to 10. And if it's less than 6 or 7, I'll say to them, okay, you know what? That really helps me to get a better understanding of kind of what's out there, and what people are dealing with. Thank you so much. And then I'll just ask them, I say, I mentioned to you that I am a health coach, and I don't know if you have any goals for your health to improve. Do you have any goals that way? And if they say, well, yeah, I know I should lose weight, or I should get healthier or whatever, you could just ask them. Just say, well, that's kind of what I do. I would love to just learn more about what you're looking for, and maybe I could help you. And then you could share your story. This is what happened for me, and this is why I'm doing this, to serve other people, because I've had such an amazing transformation myself. That's completely genuine. It comes from the heart, and that's a good way that you can kind of connect to those people who you just randomly meet out there. I'm just always looking. I've got my glasses on, goggles, my health coaching goggles on all the time. Who can I serve? Who can I serve? And sometimes I have to because we go out as a family, and I'll see someone, the kids are like, Mom, don't look. Come on, keep going. Because they know I'll just want to stop and have a conversation. And it was funny, one night that happened at the movie theater, and it turned out to be that man was one of my clients. I said, it's okay. He's already one of my clients. I can just say hi to him and we'll keep going. But they're great. They are really supportive. And it's because I've sat down, my husband and I, Dan, he's so great and supportive. We sit down with our kids And we really talk about, okay, this is what we do and this is why. And can you guys get behind us on this? And can you help us with things around the house? And can you understand when mom has calls on a weeknight, sometimes? And they figured out which nights work best for me to be busy. And they've got other activities. And so it kind of works out. But communication with the family is a big deal, or with the spouse is a big deal. That can really make or break you. And so you need to just be really honest and share with your family or your spouse or your significant other, what is it that you really wanting to create and why that's important, and ask for their support. And that can really be such a great learning, growing experience. I know it has been for us. Anyway, I know we're just over a few minutes, Randy. I think that's about all I got. Anybody have any questions?
Amazing. Yeah, questions, guys.
Thank you, Jan. This is so great. I think sometimes people think, oh, this is a presidential. She's figured out the secret formula, and there is no secret formula. Everybody has to find what works for them, but it's so great to hear what works for you. And I think just listening to this idea of having a morning routine, having an evening routine, and then 2 blocks of 90 minutes, because I think sometimes we think we have to be working all the time. And that if we're not working, then we're not dedicated enough or whatever. And you just have to give yourself permission to do those things that are important and focus on those things that are important. And then when you're not focusing on those, you focus on your other things that are important, like your family and those types of things. So
yeah,
I think that was such great stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jan.
It makes for happier health coaches. It sure does.
Sure.
And you'll be more effective as a health coach when you do it that way. So yeah, it's helped me a ton. I'm still working on it, but it really has helped me a ton. And Randy, by the way, I just want to say out there, guys, we, Jamil Frazier and I are doing a team training in November, and it's going to be held in Salt Lake City. It'll be the 8th through the 10th of November. And we would really love to invite anybody who would like to come. It's going to be straight up Optavia training. It's not sanctioned by the company or anything. It's not like a company training, but we know that there are some coaches out there who haven't had a lot of support, team support, whatever. And so we've had Randy and Jeanette come to our team trainings anyway, because they're part of our team, but we would love to invite you guys again, and any of your teammates or anybody who would like to come is welcome. And we're going to open that up to outside of Jamil and my team. Will be on September 15th. And
awesome.
So yeah, it'd be great if you want to join us.
Oh,
Thank you, Jan.
Jan, thank you so much for doing this tonight. There's so many golden nuggets on here. It's been lighting up on the chat side here. You guys, I wanted to share something else with you really quick. Jeanette put together a lot of Doug Wood's IPAs and formulated them into the week in the life of a coach. And so I'm going to paste it in here. It's the bit.ly link right there at the bottom that I just put in. So you can click on that. And Jeanette's really great with time management. She's whipping me into shape little by little. And Jan, this is exactly what we've been talking about together. So thank you so much for coming and being a part of this.
Yes, guys, especially Jan, because you had a very important family thing happening and you still took time for us, and we really appreciate that.
We appreciate it. Okay, we're going to post this, you guys, so that you can use it as playback for anybody you want to share it with. It should be up in a few minutes on YouTube, okay? So if you're friends with us, or we'll post it in Jan's team for playback, and anybody can go do this and share it. So thank you, everybody, for being on the call tonight. Thank you so much, Jan.
Thank you. Thank you, Randy. Thanks, Jeanette. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
You're all wonderful.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.